There's something I didn't understand about this house until it was almost too late. It doesn't like to be empty. I moved back into my grandmother's house 3 weeks after my divorce. I didn't explain it to anyone. It was practical. That was enough. The house had been empty for 8 years. After she died, it passed through two different owners. Neither stayed longer than a year. Realtors described it carefully, a home with character. When I stepped inside with my suitcase and a single lamp, the silence didn't feel abandoned. It felt suspended, like something had paused mid-breath. The air smelled like dust, dry wood, insulation, and beneath it, iron, faint, metallic, old. I closed the door behind me. The sound didn't echo. It absorbed, as if the house adjusted around me. I never knew my grandfather. He died before I was born. My grandmother spoke about him rarely, and when she did, it was brief, neutral, distant. There are no clear memories of him in this house, only the attic. The attic was always closed when I was a child, not locked, just closed. My grandmother would smile and say, "There's nothing up there but old air." But sometimes at night, lying in the bedroom at the end of the hallway, I would hear something above my ceiling, a slow shift, then another. 7 seconds between sounds. I counted once. I never forgot that rhythm. It came back on the third night after I moved in. I woke at 1:12 a.m. No nightmare, no sudden noise, just awareness. The room felt occupied, not crowded, occupied. Then, a shift above me. 7 seconds, another 7 seconds. It wasn't random settling. It was careful, measured, and it was moving. Slightly closer to the attic staircase, the sound stopped when I sat upright, not faded, stopped. The silence afterward felt observant, like something had paused because I had. The pattern continued for nights, always 1:12, always 7 seconds between movements. By the sixth night, I heard the first step on the attic staircase, soft, controlled. 7 seconds, another, descending, not rushing, not threatening, just orienting. The air would thicken during these moments. Breathing felt heavier, the metallic scent stronger. It never reached the bottom, it always stopped halfway, like proximity alone was enough. On the seventh day, I went to the attic. The staircase felt narrower than I remembered. Halfway up, the air shifted, cooler, denser. The attic door creaked open slowly. Dust floated in angled light from the circular window. The room looked untouched, still, except for the center of the floor. The dust there wasn't settled. It was disturbed, not swept, not brushed aside, disrupted in elongated arcs, clearings where something heavy had rested, shifted slightly, rested again, repeatedly. The rest of the attic was evenly coated in dust, but the center had been occupied. I stepped around it carefully, afraid of standing exactly where something else had stood. That's when I saw the journal, tucked between two storage bins near the far wall, leather-bound, cracked spine, my grandfather's name inside. I sat on the attic floor and began reading. The early entries were ordinary: weather, work, small observations. Then one name began appearing repeatedly: Dr. Adrian Hallberg, an archaeologist, a close friend. Adrian's final excavation had taken place in southeastern Anatolia, near a partially collapsed Bronze Age settlement mound. The region had been layered with overlapping civilizations, Hittite trade networks, Assyrian expansion, fragmented Mesopotamian roots. But the stratigraphy at the site was wrong. Certain soil layers were unnaturally compacted, compressed beyond natural sedimentation, reinforced, as if something had been deliberately buried and then protected. Adrian uncovered a wooden container beneath a collapsed stone threshold. The wood was preserved unusually well. No carvings, no inscriptions, no joinery matching regional craftsmanship. Radiocarbon sampling suggested it predated surrounding artifacts by centuries. That unsettled him. The soil around it was denser than the rest of the site, as if it had been concealed, not placed. One colleague suggested it might have been a boundary deposit. Ancient Near Eastern cultures sometimes buried objects beneath foundations to anchor or contain unseen forces, not offerings, constraints. Adrian dismissed the theory. He removed it. He brought it home. Weeks later, he began waking at 1:12 a.m. Movement in rooms he wasn't in. 7 seconds between sounds. He described the presence not as hostile, but orienting, recalibrating toward him. His health declined slowly, gradually. Doctors could not explain the cause, but they could predict the end. Adrian knew he was dying. The final entries were calm, ordered. He arranged his affairs. He asked my grandfather to visit, and he gave him the box, not in panic, in preparation. He told him, if it continues, do not ignore it. Adrian died 2 months later, expected, quiet. My grandfather stored the box in the attic. For months, nothing happened. Then he began waking at 1:12 a.m., 7 seconds between sounds, movement above his bedroom, closer each night. He wrote, it prefers proximity to breath. It is displaced. It should have remained beneath stone. The final entry. It waits. The journal ended there. Shortly after, so did his life, before I was born. I closed the journal slowly. The disturbed dust in the center of the attic made sense now. Something had rested there, positioned, not wandering. I began searching, opening trunks, moving crates. The metallic scent grew stronger the longer I stayed. Behind an old cedar chest, nearly flush with a slanted wall, I found it. The wooden box, small, unmarked, dark, absorbing light. I knelt in front of it. When I placed my fingers against the wood, a deep internal unease spread through me. Not pain, not shock, something instinctual, a warning without words. The unmistakable sensation of standing somewhere you should not stand. My breathing shortened, my skin tightened. My body understood before my thoughts did. This does not belong above ground. I withdrew my hand. The feeling lingered. That night, I brought the box downstairs. At 1:12 a.m., the presence began immediately. 7 seconds. Shift. 7 seconds. Closer. The metallic scent filled the kitchen. The air compressed. 7 seconds. Closer. It did not rush. It recalibrated toward warmth, toward breath, toward me. I opened the lid. Inside, nothing. Just empty wood. Nothing changed. The air remained heavy. The metallic scent lingered. The hallway stayed silent, unresolved. I didn't know what to do. I thought about burning it. Fire ends things. But what if the box wasn't the problem? What if it was the only boundary left? Destroying it felt reckless. I considered calling archaeologists, handing it over, letting experts study it. But it was obvious now. This object was never meant to be found. It had been concealed, reinforced, buried deliberately. Removing it had already been a mistake once. Repeating that mistake felt worse. The next morning, I drove deep into the woods beyond the property, farther than I had ever gone as a child, past the thinning trail, past the fallen birch trees, until the house was no longer visible through the branches. I dug until the soil grew dense and damp, deeper than necessary, lowered the box into the hole, hesitated only briefly, then covered it, layer by layer, pressing the earth down deliberately, repacking the soil, containing. That night, I stayed awake, waiting for 1:12. The clock changed. Nothing happened. No shift above me, no movement on the stairs. The house felt ordinary. The silence felt natural. Dust in the attic settles evenly now. No disturbed arcs, no resting place. Most nights, nothing happens. But sometimes, rarely, I wake in the dark without checking the time. The air feels slightly heavier, not like before, just slightly. I lie still, and I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nothing follows, and eventually I sleep again. But I don't walk into the woods anymore, not past the tree line, not to where the soil looks slightly darker than the rest, because some boundaries, even restored, should not be tested twice.